rolling. We need to adjust over here just a little bit. Perfect. Dig it. Excellent. Thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching the Paint with Josh show. You guys are all fantastic. There we go. Get everybody all zoomed in perfectly. Now, let's get some paint on the palette. Throw down just a gorgeous little scene tonight. I'm going to redo the one I did a couple days ago because it just came out so great. And we haven't done a big crashing wave seascape for a minute over here on YouTube and Facebook. So let's get rocking and rolling and see what we can get into, right? You guys tell me where you're watching from. We just barely put the liquid clear on the canvas. That's all that's on there right now. So I'm going to take my paper towels. I'm going to fold them in half. Wipe off all that excess clear, which shouldn't be a lot, right? It'll be a little bit of color, but it shouldn't be a lot. You want to put the clear on and spread it out as much as possible. Just like we're about to do with these colors, right? Now we're going to grab just a touch, a little brush, a little 2-inch brush, right? And let's go into our sap green first. You know what? Let's not use a 2-inch brush. Let's use a 1-inch brush. 1-inch brush, because we're on a little small little canvas, this guy, right? So, over here to the sap green, and let's just pick, I don't know, a little area right in here. All we're going to do is just deposit some color. You don't even need to really blend it out that much. Just put some of it out there. We're going to also take that sap green that's going to become the eye of our wave, right? And the eye of our wave is just about, well, I don't know, let's see, just about 4 inches from the bottom right here. We're just going to toss in a little color right there on the side because we have to leave room for that crashing, rolling spray. Right, so we got a little bit of our green onto the canvas, a little bit of the sap green right here into the eye, right? And then we have a place to aim for. Now we can go over here to our phthalo green. Let's put some of our phthalo green in here. Just again, just dumping it on so we have some paint on some portion of our canvas somewhere. Let's take a little bit of that phthalo green. We're going to go right from the top of the eye and just go straight back, right? Just straight back. Hey, we don't want to overmix them too much. We want them to stay separate. Then I'm going to take a little bit of that phthalo green. We're going to come right underneath the eye, just a little bit, like 1 inch, literally. A little stripe of paint down there, okay? Then, let's fill the whole rest of the thing up with our phthalo blue. So we'll pull some of our phthalo blue down. Remember, you don't want any white in this color. You don't want to really see too much color. You guys can probably see a lot of color just based off of my bright lights in the studio. But when you're doing it in your house, you don't want to have so much paint on the canvas so you can see it so bright, right? Just a little touch. Now, we're going to go right underneath this guy again. A little bit of blue. It's too much blue. Hang on. Let me dump some of this blue off of the brush and spread it out, and we can use what's in here. There we go. Just to spread it down, right? The more bright blue it is, the more paint you have on the canvas, which necessarily isn't what we need, right? Just like that. And then we're going to fill the whole bottom of our canvas with brown by the time that we get there. We're not going to do it right now. We're going to do it by the time we get there. Now, we've got paint on nearly every portion, right? There's some little places where the paint is not, right? But you want to have it 99% of everywhere, okay? A little bit of blue, a little bit of sap green, a little bit of our phthalo green, and just make sure you've gone over the entire canvas just at least once or twice, right? Now, we're going to grab our white and a little fan brush. We're going to start making some clouds in here, right? Little titanium white, and pull it down. Now, because all the paints underneath are all wet, this white is going to activate them, right? So I get the paint on the brush, and then I wipe it off. You don't need to see a whole lot of it, right? Wipe it off, and now, why don't we come through, we'll rock through this way. So we're going to cut through all these pieces of color by either coming down from above, right? So you get that teal into the green, into the blue. All this action out here, right? All we're doing is mushing on a little bit of paint because we know that it's going to grow and it's going to spread around when we start to hit it with our brush, right? And in those different color areas, we'll retain those different colors. The more that we mush it and push it, get this soft little thing out there, right? Flatten off the bottom area. You decide what you want it to look like. Maybe up here we push it a little further, get a little softer out here, right? The more that you mix it, we keep mixing and mixing and mixing and mixing and mixing, it's going to become darker and darker and darker because we're mixing in with all of those darker paints underneath, right? So what we need to do, especially on this next cloud, is not overmix too much. If we put in too much, oof, nobody's going to like it, right? Remember, we've taken our brightness, worked it down into the darks. Let's go back, pop a new bit of brightness, again, down through all those little colors. This guy's a little flatter off to the side, right? As long as you've left a bit of color in between these two bits and they're not the same, then it will look like two different clouds, right? If we mix it all or bring it all too close, then it's not going to look like different clouds, right? If all the color is touching everywhere, it's going to look like the same bit of cloud. So again, just pop it out here and see. Just be messy, be random. Pop it, mix it, pull it down. Little things. Flatten it off, wherever you want it to be. Up to you how much color comes down, how far it grows, all that stuff. Totally up to you, okay? Now, let's get in here and mix up just a little bit of our Paint with Josh plaque mix, right? The plaque mix is a fantastic dark mix of color. It's going to contrast against all that bright, right? All we have right now is bright on our canvas. It's a bunch of bright white paint. It's kind of mixed into these bright colors. So what we need to do is contrast off of that with some darker paint, right? An uberly dark pile of Paint with Josh plaque. Mix it up, get it all nasty, just like that. Now we're gonna wipe off our knife so it's nice and clean-ish, you know. Haha! Clean-ish still, it's fine. We're gonna come in here, we're gonna flatten it out. See how I push on the blade with my finger, flattening it out like a steamroller, right? And then we'll come in here, literally remove an entire roll of it. You can almost see through the palette right there. Remove it and then come up here and decide. What do we want it to look like, right? We're just gonna start dropping it on, rolling up, come up here, and we got a little peak, boop, right there, right? Everything else, we're pushing hard against it, trying to, see how there's no more paint on the knife? Trying to remove all that paint off of our knife, right? Then you can literally come down here and scrape up some more. Now you've got another fresh roll on the top and finish what you want your little mountain to look like off the edge, right? All we need is a little guy back here. We don't want him to grow too big, so don't put too much paint. Why? Because we all know with the 3 P's of Paint with Josh, we use our paint and our pressure, right? Depending on the pressure, that paint can grow really, really, really far. Does anybody know the last P of Paint with Josh? What's the final P? The final peeper of Paint with Joshy. Does anybody know out there? Let me know in the comments if you know. Right? We're going to go back to our little 1-inch brush and grab this mountain, slide it out. Slide it out, slide it out, slide it out. We got paint on the canvas. We've got our pressure that we're then using with the brush to sort of kind of mold that paint the way that we want it to go, right? Going one way, going the other way. We're not just pulling it all in one direction, right? So what is the final P of old Paint with Joshy, right? What is it? Does anybody know? I bet you know. You probably know it and you don't even know you know it, right? Just like that. We don't want our mountain to grow too far. Right? Did you take a guess at least? Type your guess in the comments. What's the last P? Just G knows. Pay. Pull. Patience. Right? Pepper. I like that. Cynthia Malik knows over there. Hi from Australia watching. You guys are amazing. Remember, guys over on YouTube, you got to give me a thumbs up over here. If you like what we're doing, right, just give me a thumbs up before you leave. One thumbs up when you get there, and then you don't have to worry about it, right? The last P of Paint with Josh, by the way, is practice. The amount of paint on our brush or on our canvas, the amount of pressure, and of course, practice. How can you expect to be good at it if you've never done it before? Or if you don't do it enough, right? Let's take a little bit of our plaque like that, mix it down into our light blue color, kind of sky blue with that phthalo blue and our white mixed together. Makes this darkish, grayish blue. Perfect. Amazing color, right? Now we're going to come grab a bit of our white and flatten it out. Scoop up enough of it. We don't need much more than that, I would imagine. Put it down here. One little teeny tiny little scoop of our blue, right? So by the time that we finish mixing this guy up, it will be a much brighter, almost white, but we know in our heads that we put some blue in there, right? That way, these two colors will play as light and shadows, right? Shadows and dust, Maximus. Now, ooh, you know what? Oh, that would be just a perfect spot. I can just see something right now. I just see it. It's in my head, and once it gets in my head, I gotta do it. So let's put a little bit of white onto our brush. A little tiny little amount. Didn't wash the brush, still's got all the green and stuff from back here. And I want to pop in just a little, like a little X shape. Just like that. Perfect. Okay? That guy, we're going to over-mix so he becomes fainter than anything else out here, right? If I left it like that, kind of looks the same, right? A little bit of a cloud. But if we mix it up more and more and trying to push that color out, but also not touch our other colors, right? Just push on it a bit harder. Push it, push it, push it, push it. Ah, push it. Right? Just like that. Gorgeous. Now, let's get out here with a little moon in our sky, right? We're going to go into our titanium white with a little filbert brush. Those are the ones that look like a fingertip, right? I'm going to choose a side. Yeah, this side right here. I'm going to pull down just on one side of our brush. We just have the paint on the one side, not the back side, just the front side. Right? And take that guy. We're going to plop him straight up into the center of that brightest point. Boom! Just like this. It's flat against the canvas. It looks like it's giving it a high five. Now we're going to rotate that brush around. Right? Spin it into a circle, trying to maintain its center point in your moon. And boom! You got this gorgeous moon that's emitting this lighter color. Right? We've left the original darkness in our sky to see that that moon out there is casting a little bit of light. If everything is all the same, guys, it's never going to look right. And so don't make all your clouds the same color. Don't make your moon the same color. Don't make everything too much of the same, okay? I'm telling you, this years of experience talking. Just years. And they talk a lot. Just experience years. Oh, yes. Guys, isn't that fantastic? Now, let's get in here and throw some highlights on this guy. All right, so we had our blue mix. We have our white mix down here. You guys got to tell me where you're watching from. What time is it where you are right now? I love this because when people go back and watch the YouTube video later, we get all different random times. And I'll be sitting in my house and a comment will come up on the top of the screen and I'll just go, oh, it's 6:48 a.m. I'm like, what? Oh, yeah, I remember I asked what time I would copy. All right, let's get in here with our blue. Pull it straight out like that. Little scrape, right? I like doing the shadows first. And in this instance, our shadows would kind of grab off the top and just let it rip down, right? Wherever they want it to be. Whatever your angle is. Watch this. If we do a little, like a downward kind of a rounded shape like that, you'll get a different look to your mountain, right? Like it's got a little dip in there. Maybe it dips down and around and becomes flat over here. You get to decide what it looks like. Each time you do it, it's going to be different. I know I say it all the time. I do. I say it all the time, but it's so true. Every time you get out here, you want to drop a little bit of shadow in there, go for it, man. You want to do this over here and make like a little peak, or maybe it has a little bit of shadow where it's not getting caught by that light, go for it, man. Let's get in here with a little bit of our quote-unquote white, right? That bluish white that we made. You can see our roll on the edge of the knife right here. It's probably about, I don't know, a good 1/8 of an inch, about that thick, right? For people on Facebook, it's about that thick. And when I touch the canvas, it's going to want to get stuck, right? Because if I pull it away, you can see there's a giant ridge. You can see almost this giant ridge on the top. The canvas wants to get stuck, or the paint wants to get stuck to the canvas. Right? So we come up here, just let it fall down, right? Put it wherever you want. Drop it off very lightly, though. Start rolling down that little ridge. You get to determine what it looks like each time you do it. If it's a little bit too dark or too bright, scrape it up. And we come down in here, turn our knife off, and just roll it down, these little things, right? Trying not to cover over every bit of blue shadow. Maybe there's a little cave right there. I like him. I like him, right? Flatter, flatter, flatter as we get off the side. Now, maybe you don't want to just have that crazy ridge. So you come across that little ridge in a couple different places. Again, being very flat. I'd say, look, over here, this guy, because it's got that blue shadow behind it, can extend even more. Right? Kind of wrapping around the backside. If you're going to add some light, please add some darkness as well, at least some shadows. Right? Very cool. Look at this thing, literally. What do you want it to look like? Because we can make it look however. Right? This guy, let's dump it off this way, just very lightly attaching to the canvas, and then rolling off the side. Very soft little touches. We don't want to have too much, be too crazy. A little bit of our blue, drag it back towards our little edge over here. Right? We're never going to see the whole bit of mountain. We're going to make a lot of this color up as some misty snow, misty fogginess as the time that we get, by the time we get down there. So, very cool. Just like that. Throw a little mountain out into the distance, right? Now, let's take our 2-inch brush and let's turn it flat to the canvas, right? We're not going to be out here brushing it back and forth. No, no, no. We can't control our pressure that way. Here, we can control our pressure much better. Right? We just want to very lightly go over it to where we can still see all those little breaks. They just become a bit softer, right? Because we flick them with our brush just a couple little times. Over here, over there, right? Where do you want it to be? What does your mountain look like? You guys get to choose. Right? So it came out over here a little bit more. just because we want it to, right? What do you want it to look like? Honestly, you get to do whatever you want to do. And then you step back and you look at it and you go, hey, that's a cool looking mountain right there. Get some shadows underneath that little bit. Boom, baby. Right now, since we've been going this way and kind of dragging all of our guys, because we were going that way with our knife, right? So you kind of got to go backwards up against it. Then when we come around to the back side of our mountain, we also have to rotate our brush around. Very lightly, very close to the canvas, just dragging up. Not trying to get rid of all of our stuff. It's still there, right? Now, because we have a smaller canvas, right? And we don't want our mountain to grow too far. We know we got our eye back in here, right? We don't want it to get too far down. So we're gonna start tapping on it, and tapping it, and tapping it, right? Just tap, that's it. Tap at it, tap at it, tap at it, tap at it. We're not hitting and dragging, we're not doing any of that. We're just kind of dabbing the brush against the thing to make some of those details look a little more hard to see. Just a little more misty and crazy. All right, we come in here, we can mix it up. Mix it up, mix it up, mix it up, mix it up. Nice and soft. Right? We don't want to have too much paint down here. Now, when we go back and you get your nice softy, misty little mountain, we're going to need to come in with a bit of paint, right? Depending on how far yours grew also, right? You don't want it to grow down too far because we need that eye of our paint, of our wave is going to be right here, right? So let's come back here. Let's toss a bit of bright off. A bit of bright that way, okay? That way we can start dragging off little things off into the distance, creating little bits, okay? Now because we lost a little bit of our dark separator, we're going to need to go back and put one in. All we got to do is take a little touch of our plaque, just the smallest little bit. Get a little shadow underneath this guy. That's it. A little touch of darkness underneath it, okay? All you gotta do in these instances, very lightly, just dragging our little shadow. And we can go back and throw some more water over the top of it. Okay, once we're at this point, all right, we're gonna grab up some white, and then fix this little guy up. Right over the top, right over the top. It's nice and bright, got that little bit of shadow. Then we're going to come underneath here and launch down our whole big front wave that's crashing, right? So get that big thing right in front, above your point, right in front. And we can get back in here and we can flick these guys back. Flick them back, flick them back, flick them back to that last dark separator back there. See what I mean? You don't want the two colors to touch, that's for sure. Now we got to throw our eye in underneath this guy. Right? So we toss a little bit of our color in there. Let it get a little bigger on the one side, a little skinnier on the other side, and then we're going to go and mix it. Right? When we mix it, it's going to want to move and grow. Right? We don't want it to grow too far and get too close to our little guy up there. We definitely don't want him to touch. You want to get just as close as you can, retaining that little dark separator in there. That is our shadow, okay? That little shadow, if you lose it, is a harder thing if you have to try to go back and put it in. You want to keep it that black canvas, okay? Let's get in here with our white, come across this side, and now we're going to roll up and over, and I'm kind of shaping out what I want my wave to look like, right? So we're going to go up, go over, I'm going to go down towards our bottom corner, not down to the middle, to the bottom corner over here, okay? Even though we've tapped on all that color, you can still attach it and smush it over. All we're doing, just rolling and pivoting over our thumb like that. Mush it over, keep going. It's supposed to be bright on the top, and it starts to get darker and darker and darker as it gets further over this way, which is fine. Right? We're not going to see everything behind this wave. We're not supposed to be able to see the mountain for sure. You don't want to see that guy. All right, let's get a little bit more white paint, just so we can line that guy up. There we go. Just sort of outline him in that little bit of glare coming off the top. Right? Now, how far do you want your wave to roll forward or downward or whatever? Right? Just keep going. Little bits, getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Remember, the wave is supposed to get launched this way. It's not just supposed to come up and just fall over on itself. All right? Not in the ones that we paint anyway. They may work like that in real life. I've seen them, the little flappy, foldy waves. But we like painting the big monsters, right? Now, we're going to try not to allow any color to get in here. No brightness, nothing else anyway, to get inside there. But our wave has to come down, right? Comes down, smashes right down onto the ground. Right? So let's say it's about right there. I usually like to leave about an inch in between the top of the wave and the actual, the bottom of the wave and the ground itself. Now, we're going to make little horizontal streaks going backwards like this. And you can see I'm starting a little bit lower and a little bit further over each time. That way we retain this little diagonal sort of a line like that. Our wave is going to grab up and start heading down and matching up with those little horizontal lines. Right? That helps it make it look like it's getting round. Down here too, why not? Just like that, right? It's going to help us imagine it just on the outside of the canvas. We got this round section of our wave over here. We don't want to cover up too much of our eye, right? And you got to make sure that your direction is the right way, right? We don't want to have, the only thing that's telling us any difference are our directional swipes, right? So this is flat on the top, this is curving and rolling down, right? However you want yours to look, it's exactly how it's going to look. Make it nice and flat though, don't go too crazy, right? Now, out here, we're going to start a very wide circle, but we're only going to touch right in here, right? So it's very flat out here, very flat, kind of picking up each time, rolling back, coming up, rolling back, starting a little bit higher, rolling back, starting a little bit higher and going backwards, right? What do you want your waves to look like? And by the time you get in here, you're making this very small little circle, right? Leaving that uberly dark color back in there. Drag this guy off however far you want your sand to be. Remember, there is no undercolor under this spot right here. It's just bare black canvas, which means that if you do something too big or too much, it will never ever blend away. Right? Just like that. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Okay. Now, let's go take our plaque mix on another fan brush, right? Another fan brush, going to go into our plaque, same color that we made our mountain out of. Roll it down, roll it down, roll it down. Now, underneath, you can even see if we can just get like a little taparoo, just a little bit, because we're going to put a couple little white dots over that area anyway. Just have that round, that darkness connect, right? And then we come up under here and we start pushing. Pushing, 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 pushing. The more that you do it, or the faster that you do it anyway, the more kind of random it looks, and it looks a little bit more watery and messy. So I like doing it like this. We come in here and we just smash. By the time you get down to the bottom, which is why we leave that inch of separation, because all of our water is hitting down here. Boom! It's everywhere. It's all the way off the side. All this darkness, right? Making our S-shaped curve. Have you ever heard me talk about the old S-shaped curve? Right? Have you ever heard it? If you haven't, it's okay. I used to talk about it a lot. We really don't talk about it much anymore, so maybe I'll bring it back. The old S-shaped curve. Have you ever heard me say that? In any one of my videos, no matter how long you've been watching me for, right? Think about a wavelength or a sound wave, right? It's going like this, constantly. Just a little bit like that. Over and over and over and over and over. It's all our wave is doing. It's going like this, right? Just continuing. Now imagine an S. First things first. If you're looking at your phone right now, right? Turn your head on the side. Look at it like this. That's how I want you to look. Look at it like that on the side. And then follow my hand. We're going to make an S right there. You see it? Looking at it on the side of your skull like this, you're like, oh yeah, I do see that kind of S-shape curve, right? That's exactly what's going to help your waves look a little bit better. That curve is the natural flow of things, right? It's going to have already hit and burst back here by the time it's rolling, and it's a continuous thing. It's this constant flow, right? So that S-shaped curve is really going to help you out. Now we're going to go into our liquid white. Does anybody see? Can you see? If you guys would quit screwing around back here, you'd be able to see it. Do you see? Alright, let's get over here into our liquid white and our titanium white. We need the liquid white in order for it to become wet enough for it to deposit, right? Just with the smallest little touch, it'll come off of our brush a lot easier. Take these few little guys, just sweep them back a couple little times. We want there to be a little bit of difference, a little bit brighter to a little bit darker, right? Now, each time that we touch this, just kind of come up and touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it, right? The more that we're touching it, the more dark paint that we're also picking up on our brush, right? Now, I like to do it fast. This gives you a little bit more realism type of a look. The more you go down, right? Looks like the water's breaking up and it's about to hit. Right now, down here, we've already pretty much used up both the corners of our brush filled with color. So we're going to try to turn the brush all sorts of ways and let that color deposit just anywhere that we possibly can get it to deposit, right? Like flapping at it, slapping at it, doing all sorts of flappy, slappy moves. Now, even though we've just covered the canvas in all that white, right? We can even go back and get some if you thought you don't have enough. Right? Boom, boom, boom. Even though we just smashed on all these little white pieces, what have we left in between them all? Right? And not just white on white on white on white on white, because we wouldn't be able to see anything, right? So what have we left in between those pieces? Wash this old brush off. Yep. What have we left in between them? Because you gotta go in between them, right? We're gonna grab our 1-inch brush as well, dab it off on a paper towel. You guys will be good. You smell it through the screen. Oh man, I thought I was being quiet enough. Back over here very lightly, 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 lightly. Bang, just like that. Fantastic. Okay, so once we get all this liquidy wet paint, it's going to want to move, which is why we leave those dark separators in there. So when it does move and we mix it up, it's not all the same amount of gray or the same amount of whatever. You know what I mean? You want there to be differences there, guys. The differences are key. They are paramount. They are Disney Plus. They are everything now. You gotta have the differences, because without them, everything looks the same, and then nobody can tell what you're doing, what it's supposed to look like, what you tried to paint, because everything all looks like the same color. Right? You have to leave those differences, and if that means leaving a big black open space, then leave a big black open space. Just make sure it's different, man. Just make sure it's different. That's all I gotta ask. Okay, a little bit more of my liquidy white. You can see this liquid white is so drippy. Watch this. Boop. See it drip off my brush? We'd never do that with the titanium white because it's just too thick. Get in here, mix up the liquid white and the titanium white, right? Get it onto our brush. Again, come back in any little place you want to brighten up. I'm not trying to make it look all the same. There we go. By the time we get down to the bottom, it's just a free-for-all. Just wherever you want. They can even get higher than they were before, right? Wherever you want them to be. Drop it off, smack it on. Now, even though we just covered up all these little bits with more little white space, what have we left in between? All those little things. I just told you the answer, so you should know by now. We've been talking about it for like 6 straight minutes. You should know by now what we're talking about. What have we left? I want to see somebody say it. Say it in the comments, man. The darkness. That's it. The dark. Right? The little dark separators. Those little places in between them. Right? Again, we're going to take that same old 1-inch brush we haven't washed since we started. We're going to come up and grab some areas, but we're going to skip more this time. I want there to be more differences this time. So we're barely touching anything. Right? That way some things are less mixed up, some things are more mixed up, and then we're going to come in with our old splashing water technique where we throw the paint at the canvas and let it splatter onto there. So, you don't have to do too much. You do too much, you're just going to, you're doing it to yourself. You're just doing it to yourself. Now, let's get in here with our big old 2-inch brush, and we need to get our brown colors out, right? So we're going to go into our dark brown, into our light brown, just together, mixing them on the brush. Right here. Bang, bang, bang. So get all that darkness. Right? Come out here from the side and just start smooshing it on, and dragging it over towards our color. Now, we don't want them to touch. We leave a little space for right now. Get that brown color on there, down into our sandiness. Right up underneath it. That's right there, okay? Now, we're going to take our liquidy white paint that we had before, same thing that we've been doing over here, we've been messing around with. We'll scoop it up on our knife and get it right up underneath that guy. Bang, just like that. That way, once our brightness gets pulled down and lights up all that brown, It's going to look really cool and really wet all at the same time. All right, so I'm going to dab off my brush, come in here, and just show him, just turn this stuff into sand. I want you to be honest with me. Does this look like sand? Yes or no? All right, just tell me honestly. That's all I'm asking. Does it look like sand? Yes or no? Bang, just like that. Oh, isn't that fabulous? Isn't that just the sandiest beach you've ever seen? No, of course not, right? Not really, I agree. Because we got to take all of these vertical streaks and turn them into horizontal streaks. Doesn't that look more like sand, guys? Gals? Right, we pull it away and then we slide it up towards our wave, trying to get it as close as physically possible without having the two colors touch. Right? Leaving that small, small, small bit of darkness back in there. Very cool. Now, watch this. Right? We're going to do the same exact thing with the same exact paint. Over here, the liquid white, titanium white mixture. Right here, let's get crazy out here and just start depositing this whole thing. Push, look how hard I'm pushing on it. Just pushing on the blade to leave that ridge, that little line back in there. All right, now we're going to grab our little fan brush. We're going to use this guy, just a little teeny old little guy. Little guy. And come in here, we're going to grab it from the edge and just start sliding it backwards. Right? Lighting up some colors, dragging it sideways. We got a little bit of our coloration, our water. Drag a bit more back here. There we go. A bit more of it onto our brush. There we go. Right, it's just dragging straight sideways, sideways, sideways until you get done. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that the coolest thing? Oh, I just love it. I just love it. You come out here and change the shape if you want. Make it whatever round that you want it to be. Right? Now, we need to get a bit more of our titanium white on our palette because I need it. So we got it right here. Brand new Bob Ross titanium white. Fantastic. Now, the last one that I had. Oh, this is so much better. Perfect. Oh, God. The last tube I had of this paint was so dry. I'm talking about, I consider myself strong enough, right? I could barely get the paint to come out of the tube. Me, a virile young man, could barely get that paint to come out of the tube. So at least this stuff's a little bit softer, for goodness sake. Man, I feel you guys. Like, I've had people like message me and go, dude, how do you get the paint out? I'm like, what are you talking about? Just squeeze it and it comes out. Not on that tube, it didn't. It did not want to come out. All right, let's mix up our titanium white and our liquid white together, which is going to do what? Does anybody know? What does the liquid white do to the titanium white? Can you answer me that? What does it do? You can almost look at it and see a difference, right? There's our titanium white, untouched, super thick, crazily almost dry, even though this one's much less dry than the other one. But what's the difference between that paint, or what does that liquid white do to our titanium white? Right, it thins it out, Mindy. Exactly. Aubrey knows. You guys are amazing. You guys just rock. You guys rock. Right? It thins it out so it becomes much more watery, much easier to deposit off of our knife and keep bright versus the titanium white wants to start blending in right away. Right? So if we get a little bit of this guy, just kind of tap it on to the edges, right? Wherever you want your water to be. You want it to come out a little bit? Have it come out a little bit. It's all up to you. Right? You get to decide. Tap it on, and then whatever's left, drag it off the back. Right? Off the back, off the back, off the back. Whip it up the wave. Start climbing. Right? Come out here and start climbing, but you got to make sure that your knife is going to do that. Oh, look at those diamonds. Oh, baby, those are gorgeous. Look at the little teeny tiny little spots out there. Just fantastic. But again, now my knife is changing angle. Right? I'm not making it so round anymore because it's not such a round thing, not such a round part of our wave way over here. Right? Now, down here, let's get down crazy again, right? Making sure that you got enough paint on your knife or your brush or whatever. That's always helpful to have enough paint. Right? Now, by the time we get down here to us, I think, in my brain anyway, that being closer to us means we're going to be able to see more. Right? We're going to be able to see more details, more foam. a bit brighter, right? Because it's closer to us. So don't worry if you overdo your foamage a little bit closer to you, because that's how I like it. I like seeing a little bit more, and then we go to a little bit less. You know what I mean? Because of the distance away. Dragging up very small little bits. Little babies. Nothing out there has to look exactly the same. Remember that. Right? We just want to brighten it up a little bit. And not overmix those bright areas so much that they turn back into that same green color. Right? That's the goal. Okay. Drop it on. Rock it up. Right? Can look however you want it to look, honestly. You guys are the masters of your own universe. Literally. Oh, thank you. Since I started painting because of you, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, man. A little bit more of my brightness. Just let it whip up. Oh, there it is. Joshy. Oh, my. Okay. If I can get one more in between that little guy. Helps if there's paint on the knife. Right? Oh, yes. Right there. Bang. Right? That's all I want to do. Now, we can focus on what we want our edge to look like up here, right? Again, you can get as close to you as you want, down to that brown, but please keep that darkness, okay? If we're not keeping the dark line down here, then it's going to all look the same, and we don't want that. We don't want it to all look exactly the same, right? So again, if you want to bring it down, bring it down, bring it down. Come out over here, right? If we're going to come out this far, we're going to want to drop on a bit of our dark separator, right? So if it came down like that, came out over here, dropping it on. Remember, it can get a little bit crazier and brighter as it gets towards us, just like so, making it all crazy. And then if you need to, go back underneath and just add that little touch of dark line, right? It's going to help your foam sit up a little bit more. As you see back here, we haven't lost it, didn't lose 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 it, all the way around. Only when you come closest to you, in my book anyway, are we allowed to skirt over that guy, right? Because it's the closest thing to us. What do you want it to look like? Again, let's take some of these guys and drag back just a little bit of, same thing, a little bit of that textury paint. Not going to try to let it all look the same, not going to let it over mix in together, right? All these little things we get to do, guys, and every time we do it, they look a little different, right? Look at that, guys. Holy shaving cream, as they say. This guy way out here with all that stuff, just like it's flowing out. It's about to fall out and roll out onto your floor, guys. That is gorgeous. That is gorgeous. This one's going to take a minute to dry, too, for sure. There's so much textury paint on here. Again, the closer we get, the more texture we can get, right? Just makes it stand out a little bit more. That's a cool looking wave right there. That is a cool looking wave. Okay, we got our one final touch out here. Just the smallest bit of liquid white, all on its own. Okay, so little teeny touch. We're gonna do one more little line, kind of starting a little higher, a little bit lower, a bit lower. Don't need to have it be too strong, right? Little thing out there. Again, smallest, littlest touch. We want it to be less than the other guy. It's the whole reason. Right? We don't want it to look the same. We want it to be a little bit less. There we go. There we go. That way we got our dark sand that's nice and saturated and wet. We get that little bit of foam that's kind of sucking its way back as this one's rolling in. You get all this movement, you guys. And the final touch. The last thing we're going to do, right, to cover up all those little brush marks in our water, we have to come back in and do this. Give it a little spray, a little spritz. Right? Flick through the palette, attaching it to the canvas like that. Now, if you do it a little bit faster and add the sound effects, it makes it a little bit more fun like this. It's over. Oh, man, that's fantastic. God. Right? All those little sprays make you look through them to see your brush details. That's depth. To me, that's depth right there. You know what I mean? And you can do it too. So simply, so easy. I can't wait to see your guys' version of this painting, honestly. Honestly, I just can't wait. It's gonna be fantastic. Oh man, looking good. This one is over on YouTube. Pretty. It is already there. We're doing a simulcast. So we're doing the TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube all together. So as soon as you get done watching this, you can pop over to my YouTube channel and it'll be back there. You'll be able to rewatch it and play it again. Very cool. I like taking some of the best tutorials that we do throughout the week and making those the Monday and Friday night shows that we do on YouTube and Facebook. So even though we just did this one a couple days ago, I thought, man, it just came out so great that you guys need to see it and want to learn how to do it as well. And if so, I might as well put it out on video, right? So that is a cool looking painting. You guys have to tell me what we're going to name this guy, right? If you purchase the painting right now during the live show, you get to decide what the name is going to be forever. Totally up to you, right? If not, then we have to do it as a group. So I need your help. Type what you want to name this painting into the comments right now. And then I am going to sign it. Put the old bird fam in there, just way out here. You can also throw in stars too. I think my sky has a bit too many clouds for stars. But if you wanted, you could throw in stars into your sky by doing the same exact thing. Just dragging the brush through your palette and it sprays them out like that, right? Really cool. Let's get down here. Throw the old JK in. Boop. Just like so. I like him. I like that. So you guys got to come up with a title. Tell me what you want to name it. What would you title it if you had just painted it your own self? Right? That's what I always ask. Like, what's the best title? I don't know. What would you name it if you just did it? If you're me, you're like, man, now I got to title this painting that I just did. It's got to be a great title for the ages, man. What are you going to name it? My heater's still on? Oh, my heaters are still on. No wonder it's so hot in here. I thought it was just you guys. No, it's me. Alright, so you guys come up with a title. I am going to finish washing off these old brushes. And then I've got 3 brushes to clean, and then we're going to scrape the palette and be ready for a title. So you type them in. It doesn't take long. That's 1 brush down already. That's 1 down for the count. 2 to go. Here's our second. Working on number 3. So you guys give me a title. What do you think? And if we do a random a random chosen thing, your title could be randomly selected, but only if you type it in. If you don't type it in, I'm never going to see it. We started at 4:45 today because I got to run Bailey over to, not run her over, but run her to volleyball practice. Dad joke, you know. I'm going to run you over. I don't want to do that. We could run her to, probably drive. It'd be faster, right? That's the mom side of the joke. You should probably drive, don't you think? That'd be faster. So, we're going to go do that, which is why I started about 15 minutes early today, so we'd have enough time to do the whole thing, right? So, what would you name this painting? Remember, if you like it enough, head over to paintwithjosh.com and you can have it for your own. I always love tossing a little bit of finger paint in here. Just a little adjustments with our finger. Alright, so, you guys come up with a title. Like I said, if you like it, go to paintwithjosh.com, not my Etsy store. We don't sell through the Etsy store anymore. So, go through the paintwithjosh.com. And it's the very first thing on the homepage, right? There'll be just a generic thumbnail up there for painting 1569. Oh my. Right? It'll be there. It's on the front page. So, I figured Mac was going to get this one just based off the number. Hey, shoot, guys. Drop that one down. Hey, oh, God. I just can't stop myself. It just looks so good. Oh, baby. Okay. That's it. That is a winner right there, guys. So, what do we got for a title? You tell me. I'll be here waiting for you to tell me. Moonlight Sonata Seaside? Is that what that said? That's a cool, yeah. Moonlight Sonata by the Seaside. Emerald Dreams. Oh, Elena, my birthday's in in May. I love emerald. It's my birthstone. I love the green, the brown in this one too. Oh, the way that the waves and the oh, it might look even better if we just had a bit more. I know you guys, it's not been sold yet, so it's up to me what it looks like. But if we just extend this guy just a bit, right, dragging it, making it look a little bit more odd, almost like it's connected to that second bit of wave. They're all kind of rolling and churning and rolling and dang. Very lightly dragging across it, leaving some areas, right? Not every area is going to all be exactly the same, and a few little areas out there are going to spill over and look a little odd. I like it. The best part about it, you can go back and change it if you like. Came underneath this guy. Just a little darkness, right? Lift him up a little bit. Lift him up. Wherever you want it to be. Little things you can do. All the time, guys. There we go. Right into our guy. Perfect. Just a little bit of raise up right there. Okay. Shoo, guys. Now I gotta clean off the palette again. Man, why do I do this every time? Literally every time when you do that. Think I'm done. See another detail. Go back. Do you guys do that too, or is it just me? It's okay if it's just me. I just wonder if you guys are like, oh, it's not done, or can you ever tell when a painting is done? That's the hard part. Knowing when it's finished, right? Oh, that's so cool. Oh, it's just gonna spill out onto the floor, guys. All right. Can't wait to try this. I can't wait to see it, Larry. It's gonna be awesome. Send me in your version. Excuse me, I had a little burpee there. Send me in your versions to facebook.com/official Paint with Josh or Paint with Josh K on Instagram, right? Any of those two places, you can send in photos of your completed paintings. You can't do it on YouTube, can't do it on TikTok, right? So find me over there or follow me on those platforms just so you can send me photos of your finished paintings. I really love seeing them. It makes my day better. Honestly, I might be like having a down day and be all sad, and then someone's like, oh my God, look what I did with this on my very first painting. I'm like, holy shaving cream, that looks good, guys. So please don't ever feel like you're bothering me by sending me in your finished paintings. I'm literally asking you to do it. I ask in every video, right? Now, since it doesn't look like this one's getting purchased, let's pick a random title. I'm going to swipe over. We're going to scroll up. We're going to stop. Let's see. Oh, man. All right. Is Whitney Tatiana still here? Whitney Tatiana. I dig it. That's what we randomly landed on. And that's how you get randomly chosen on the Paint with Josh show. Fantastic. I'm going to call this one Arctic Wave. Actually, we're going to meld two titles, actually. I'm feeling it in my head. Just feeling it. What is it, Arctic or is it Arctic? Somebody, is it Arctic or is it Arctic? I need Google. I need Google, man. I don't want to misspell it. Is it Arctic or Arctic? Because I think they are two different words, in fact. Like Arctic Circle or where are we at? 15. What's the? Oh, it's 1569 or. Okay, I'm hoping to count on the mods. Oh, everybody seems to know it instead of me. Oh, thank you, Cosmic. Arctic. Arctic. Okay, that's what we got. Arctic, and then I'm going to jump in Emerald because all the green waves. Boom, kind of a mixture of two people's different titles, right? Painted on 11/18 of 2023. We're all going to go to paintwithjosh.com. Because beyond TikTok and YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, right? Paintwithjosh.com's got to be in your top 5. Just the top 5 of all time websites. Yeah, this one looks neat. So head over to paintwithjosh.com, grab this painting, grab our merch, get the shirts, get the hats, get everything over there, man. Woo, it looks fantastic. Just fantastic. Let's see how it looks on the screen over here. Perfect. Perfect. Oh, Whitney is here. Cool, Whitney. Whitney and somebody, who else said emerald waves? Because I kind of mashed your guys' two together. All right, just a little mashup of the two. Gosh, got a little crazy up here. Almost didn't notice those little guys. Gorgeous. Bet you guys couldn't even see them. I can see them though. Okay, so you guys have been amazing. I love you. I'm going to say goodbye to the Facebook crew, the YouTube crew. I can't wait to see your guys' versions. Please send them in. Facebook.com/officialpaintwithjosh or Instagram.com/@paintwithjoshk. Poo! I can't wait to see all of your versions. So send them in. Love you. Can't wait. And until I see you guys again next time, take care. Rest of a good day. Bye. Bye. Boom! It's over.